Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look at Matic and just peek over at Bitcoin first before we do. Just kind of brings to light a couple of things here. We're still making lower highs and lower lows essentially. Technically, we didn't make a lower low recently for Bitcoin, so we might have the bottom in at 46,600 just based on the fact that that was hit twice and previously as well. So we didn't get that lower low for lack of better terms. We just haven't seen the higher highs yet. So we got to get that there. 50,000 would be the price to break. We want to see the one-day candlestick preferably close above the 50,000 to be able to be back in good shape, more bullish sentiment, so to speak. But we are, good news here. We are trending above the 200-day set moving average. 50 is above, of course, here, but for now, we'll take what we can get. We've essentially bounced off the 200-day set moving average about 5 or 6 times. So that's a good sign. But it's more so fair to Midland, I guess you could say. We got good and kind of neutral news. I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. I think you should still continue to dollar cost average, and that we shouldn't expect to see a dip any lower than 47,000. The price might try to come down there, but it has to turn around soon. It's just one of those inevitable scenarios here. So I don't foresee anything lower than 42,000 big picture, but immediate future 47 should hold. But we'll bridge that gap when we get there. We just want to get some higher highs and higher lows. Now, just before we take a look at Matic, I want you to know I'm not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people how to trade. I have a trading community designed with that specific purpose in place, so be sure to check that out. I'm actually rolling out with a trading academy, which is all exclusive membership benefits within the actual monthly package. So check that out, of course. Furthermore, too, we're actually rolling out the website to make it a little more user-friendly. For right now, it's all facilitated through Patreon. So check that out again in your own time. Thanks so much for joining me here. Let's go ahead and jump right into Matic and see what's going on. So the one-day chart, we can see an interesting, this is a funky pattern, but good in a way, right? The good is the fact that we don't see like a massive decline synonymous with Bitcoin. If you look at Matic and Bitcoin, like that's almost a mirror image of each other, right? So Matic does very well in the face of danger here, at least recently. It's broken free for the most part from Bitcoin. It's still affected by it, but not as adverse as most. And that's a key takeaway there. That's a quality you want to find in any type of coin you're going to invest in right now, especially one that's soon to test its previous all-time high, right? We look back here, all-time high for Matic is 270. All-time high close is 240. So roughly, we got that rough estimate of 240 to 270 as the resistance channel. Now, we traveled into that previously, but coincidentally, that was a kind of a bad day for Bitcoin too, and it just kind of flew too close to the sun, so to speak, which is normal, it has to happen, and the price is recovering now, right? So good news is Matic, yes, it corrected itself here recently, but it's also doing very well big picture, and you can see this very large candlestick on December 4th. That was essentially our 27% correction from Bitcoin. Matic dipped hard, but it recovered very well, considering everything else that didn't, okay? So those are things I like to look at when I understand and look at, invest in things, right? I've been invested in Matic for a while now, specifically because it has this type of behavior. It's a really good ecosystem. Do your own research, of course, but I can tell you that this is, it's worthwhile. And I think big picture, we're going to see, $3, $4, $5 from Matic eventually. I think that's a very, very firm reality. But between now and then, let's go ahead and see what we can discover. So first of all, the 50-day set moving average kind of worked as a support. It closed below but broke above again. So essentially, you can see this nice little push. It's not 100%. It's not like a firm support, but it's loose in the sense that it's driving the price action higher. So in the last 50 days, the average price of Matic is $1.90, whereas the price is $2.13, a little bit higher. That's considered a support level. It's a good sign. The RSI also bounced off of 50 effectively, and we're seeing the price above, still considered bullish. Again, not something you see in other coins. Furthermore, on the 4-hour chart, we're above the 50-day set moving average and the 200 now. All good things. I love to see this. This is fantastic. We're also at this point where we're kind of trending right around a previous major resistance / support level. In other words, if I'm not mistaken, that was the one-day candlestick close for the recent high, the recent most high. And that was back in October, mind you. So late October, here it is almost 3 months later, and we're trending back into that territory there, essentially trying to close above. So it's right there at that point. It feels like it's going to probably close above. It's hard to say, but the key here is that we're over the 50 on the 4-hour chart, and that's an important takeaway. We also look at the 4-hour chart. You can see the RSI, we're up over 50 as well. So again, all good things. Those are fantastic things to identify. So the macro looks fantastic for Matic, okay? Now, regarding the micro, let's go ahead and see what's going on here a little bit closer. The Ichimoku cloud, first of all, we've got some conflicting information. Now, this is good and bad, right? Good news is we're up over the cloud. Fantastic. We love to see that. That's ultimately what we want to see before we take entry. Now, obviously, hindsight's 20/20, but had you taken entry back here or here, yesterday or the day before, you would be profitable right now. Obviously, right? It's easy to look back at that and see, but that's how the cloud works, right? The price above the cloud generally considered a buy signal, and it works as a support level moving forward. So what we should expect to see is the price, if it were to come down, it should consider to bouncing off the cloud or essentially traveling into the cloud and breaking above. So we basically got a double support level in that sense, where each one of these leads is essentially considered a support level. Okay. Furthermore, we've got the conversion line above the baseline, and of course the price kind of trending close to the support / resistance. So those are all good things. The only thing that's kind of converse, so to speak, is this little lagging span here. You can see he's intersecting with the price action, or soon to within the next hour. Very strong likelihood of that. And that basically tells us we may want to consider exiting our position based on the simple fact that we're kind of losing that bullish trend. Keep in mind, Ichimoku Cloud is a very conservative indicator. It's a very conservative signal. It basically tells us when to get in when the momentum is moving and when to get out before it's lost. So that's all it's saying. It doesn't mean you have to exit your position, just letting you know that the cloud is effectively telling us at this point we need to kind of consider either trimming or closing our position if we have a short-term swing trade or a day trade in place. If you're hodling, don't worry about it. Just no worries about that. But just note that we have this point where it's consolidating essentially, and that's usually a case in point where you want to exit your position because we could see a reversal. Not to say it will happen. I don't see any indication that we should, but for lack of better terms, that's kind of where we're at. And TD sequential is just getting us a bunch of resets. We got up to a 5, and then we've gone sideways ever since. So truly, at this point, we have no reason to consider that the price will just turn around on us. One last thing we can go ahead and look at is a 15-minute chart. Let's go ahead and take over at the volume weight average price. We can see we're still within those standard deviation lines, which is fantastic. If we pull up these numbers here as well, we can see that we're trending right at the volume weight average price. In other words, the volume in the last 24 hours is expressed as a price, right? That's what the VWAP does. If you look at this here, the VWAP is basically telling us that $2.14 is the current volume weight average price. In other words, that's where the most volume accumulation is occurring. The price is exactly at that point. So it doesn't really tell us too much right now because there's no trend occurring, right? We're not in a bullish or bearish trend, so we can't really use it as a firm support or resistance, but we're right at the price action of what we need to be, and we're looking pretty good in that sense. Last thing I want to do here is just pull up a quick little Fibonacci retracement, see where we're at here for the lines. We can see that lower line right there is kind of working out. So in other words, we're right there at a major Fibonacci retracement level of 214. So we could likely see the price continue to consolidate and then slowly work its way up the channel. I think it's more likely for the price to go up than it is to go down. But again, this is a short-term trend. Even though Matic is, not synonymous with Bitcoin per se, it's still responding to those knee-jerk reactions. So as soon as Bitcoin, does like a 3% decrease in, an hour or less, Matic will sell off too. Just know that we're at a pretty strong support level right now, and we have very nice support levels at about $2 and $1.87. We're in pretty good shape here essentially. So heaven forbid you put in a position right now, you dollar cost average, which I recommend doing with everything right now until Bitcoin pulls its head out of his ass, is to essentially add to your position as you can. Even if the price comes down, we would be in good shape to see it recover. The likelihood of it coming down is there, right? But it's more likely that it'll continue to bounce off of these major Fibonacci retracement levels. Matic's pretty consistent about staying within these lines. You can kind of see this here, of course. It works very well within those Fibonacci retracement levels. So all in all, good stuff here from Matic. I like it. I think I'm bullish on Matic. I have been. I don't need to think about it. It's just something that is. But yeah, I would say that we have no firm indication here that we're going to see the price come down anytime soon. I guess that's what I'm getting at here. And again, if Bitcoin goes up to 50,000, what do you think Matic's going to do? We're going to see 230, 240, 250 pretty easy if that were to happen. Because that confidence, that less fear, uncertainty, and doubt causes coins like this that have really good fundamentals to increase. Okay, and we're seeing that too. Ethereum's going to be another one as well. I hate to say I told you so on that, but if you didn't get in at 36, 37, 3,800, I don't know what you're doing with your life. That's something you want to pay attention to. Maybe reevaluate some things, but either way, I hope you find benefit here today. Of course, if you're not currently a member, please consider subscribing. It helps me, helps the channel, but more importantly, it helps you the most because you can pretty much interview anyone in the channel and you can see that we're all finding great benefit and we're all growing together too. And once I resume signals, it's going to be awesome too, because technically I haven't sent out very many signals recently. There's a signal group as part of it. And we've been kind of waiting on the sidelines for Bitcoin to figure itself out, because a lot of altcoins are just getting wrecked right now. Again, minus Matics and Lunas, a few other ones too. But for the most part, we want to be cautious and patient right now. It will pay off in the long run. Trust me, it's better to not overtrade than it is to overtrade and consistently lose, right? So there's different schools of thought, of course, but I'm more conservative myself personally, and I prefer to, spare my members the agony of, taking a bunch of losses when we could just wait out the storm and get back in when we're ready. Okay, we're almost there. I'm confident of that. Thanks again for your time. I appreciate it. Sorry about the ramble. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.